Hey guys, this is part three. Part three of I guess Monday's lesson. So remember that these videos will only be up for 2 weeks, so you need to finish them before they take them down. So it's also good that if you're doing these videos, that the ones scheduled for that day, you get them done pretty close together. Like, if you can block off a whole hour and just knock them out, that's good because they all kind of go together. So they'll only be up for 2 weeks. So we need to pick up where we left off on page 68 of the workbook. We're in the workbook, the homework book. Real quick, I wanted to say that I left this up from last time. So we had the regular and the irregular verbs, and we talked about the regular verbs just add ed on the end, but the regular verbs are completely different spellings. How do you know how to spell these irregular verbs? You just have to memorize them. There's no formula for those. Those are just some that you're going to have to memorize. All right? So let's keep going. Let me go ahead and erase this. Oh, guys, the pollen, my nose is itching and all that. I hope everybody's staying home and staying safe with all that's going on. Okay, so number 1, when did you move here? Okay, see how it says in 2010? So we know that's going to be in the answer. So I moved here in 2010, right? When did Ken start college? It says September, so we're going to write the whole thing. Ken started. There's our past tense verb, college. Oh, guys, I can't write. And I'm dropping things. In September. Right? So Ken started college in September. And the third one says, when did you and your husband met? We met. There's our irregular verb in the past tense. In 1998. And number 4, when did you get married? We got. Okay, there's your verb, past tense, irregular, married. In 2000. Okay, so if you need to see these for longer, go ahead and stop your video. Otherwise, I'm going to erase them and we'll keep going. Number 5. When did your children begin to take English classes? They, because we're talking about more than one, so they began, because it's past tense and it's irregular, taking English classes last year. Okay. Number 6 says, when did Norma leave for vacation? Norma left. So there's our irregular past tense verb. For vacation on Saturday. I'm going to remind you that if you need to see these longer, go ahead right now and stop your video. Otherwise, I'm going to erase and we're going to keep on to part 4 on page 69. Okay. The first one, the answer is Elsa and Pablo in 1993. We're looking at the timeline to answer these questions. So, what happened? We were going to ask, when did Elsa meet Pablo? In 1993, right? So, number 2, we have to ask the question. So, the answer is they got married in 1994. So, the question would be, when did they, you can use Elsa and Pablo, get married? Okay. Also, remember that when we see the word when, we know we're talking about time. So that's how we know we're asking a question about time. Okay, number 3. When did they have Gabriel? Look at the timeline. They had Gabriel in what year? 1996, right? So on the timeline. So they, or you can say Elsa and Pablo had Gabriel in 1996. Either is correct. So the number 4, the answer is they had Clara in 1999. So what would be the question? We're talking about time, so we're going to ask when. When did they have Clara? Right? And like before, if you put Elsa and Pablo for they, that is completely fine. So they had her in 1999. Okay, so if you need to, go ahead and stop the video. Otherwise, I'm going to erase and keep going. Okay, let's see. When did they leave Guatemala? They left Guatemala. What number is that? Number 8. Number 5. They left Guatemala when? Look at the timeline. 2004. Right? So number 6, when did they move from Chicago to Detroit? We're going to say they moved from, I'm just going to abbreviate, Chicago to Detroit in 2006. And number 7, okay, we know the answers. Elsa started taking ESL classes in 2008. So to ask about that, remember we're going to use the word when. Did Elsa begin? Oh, it says start. We're going to use the words from the answer, just like we do in our writing in class. Start taking ESL classes. So that's how we would ask that question for that answer. Okay, well, go ahead and stop if you need to copy these. Otherwise, I'm going to erase and we'll do the last couple. All right. When did Elsa get her driver's license? So number 8, Elsa got her driver's license in 2010, right guys? Because it says so on the timeline. We always end a sentence with a period. There you go. When did Elsa start a new job? Elsa started a new job in 2011. Okay? And when did Gabriel graduate from college? So number 10, Gabriel graduated from college in 2018. Right? Yeah, that's right. All right there. Okay? So Gabriel graduated from college in 2018. So if you need to, go ahead and stop the video to copy these. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going, and we're going to start back now with our student book, right? The one that we work on in class. All right. So, okay, so we're talking about time and timelines. So I'm going to make one for me. So this is Angela right here, right? And the first thing on my timeline is I was born in 1972. And then you're going to go, and then 1990, graduated high school. 1995, graduated college, right? I think it was 2000 and might have been 2000. I graduated college again, right? And then in 2009, I moved to Georgia. And then, you know, it would keep on going. So just like when we were talking about Elsa and Pablo, like this, you would have a timeline of your life and the important things that happened to you. Oh, I forgot my kids in here. So 1998, Madison. 1999, Bailey. And 2005, Colby. Can't forget those guys. So those are some of the important things on my timeline. Yours obviously is going to be different because you might also include when you moved to the United States, right? Just like I put when I moved to Georgia. Okay? So let's look on page 73 of your student book. Okay, let's go back. I don't think we covered page 72, right? So let's go back and look at page 72 real quick, and we'll go over this, and then we'll move on. But we're still talking about time, and we're still talking about things that happened in the past, right? So if go ahead and take a look at the grammar focus, at the grammar chart here. If you need to, go ahead and stop the video and take a few minutes to look at that. And we see what we were talking about before about the regular and irregular verbs at the bottom of that. So let's go ahead and do the practice at the bottom. I'm going to erase my timeline because you all got the idea. Okay, so number 1, when did Min leave South Korea? She left South Korea in 2014. Okay, those answers were given to you. When blank she moved to New York? When did she move to New York, right? This is number 1. Okay, she moved to New York in 2016 using those past tense verbs, right? Number 2, when did Carlos start school? He started school in September. When did he graduate? He graduated in June. So still using all of our past tense verbs that we've been using in our homework and in earlier in this chapter. So number 3, when did Paul and Amy meet? They met, right, in 2014. When did they get married? They got married in 2017. And the last one, number 4, when did you finish college? Did you finish college, right? I finished college in August. When did you get your first job? I got my first job in September, right? So if you have somebody that you can practice being person A and somebody else being person B and then switching off, that's good to do. It gives you good practice with speaking correct English and with those past tense verbs, right? So now, go to page 73, and we already talked about timelines and all of that. So, looking at the picture of their timelines on page 73, what is the man's name? The man's name. Right? The man's name is Kasim. What is this woman's name? What is the woman's name? Nee, right? N-E-E. So we see a man and a woman. And we see that their timeline, that he has a timeline and that she has a timeline. And then the timelines come together. Why do you think that is? Why would their timelines come together? Yeah, they probably got married. So then they would share a timeline because what would happen to one would tend to happen to the other one, right? So, let's go to page. Look back at page 70 real quick, and at that picture with Olga and Victoria back on page 70, right? And let's just see. What do we know about Olga's life? Well, we can look at the pictures and know that she's married. And we found out that she moved from Russia, right? And that that's a picture of her family. We see that she has 2 children, right? So we can know all of these things from what we see in the picture and the pictures that Olga has at what looks to be her house and from the earlier readings. So all of those things would be things that would be on Olga's timeline, right? Okay, so she's married, has 2 kids. So let's look back at Kasim and Nee. Okay, so the next part is going to be kind of hard for us to do. If you can, go ahead and stop the video and maybe practice saying those with someone, if you have someone to talk to. Like, when did Kasim start keyboarding classes? He started keyboarding in 2013. That would be number 1. I'll give you number 2. When did Nee begin computer classes? She began computer classes in 2014, and we know that because it's right here. So we're just using the words and the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 to substitute for the bold ones. So if you have somebody that you can practice that with, that's a good idea. Okay, this is the end of Monday's lesson. So this is part 3. So the next one you will need to watch would be Wednesday, April the 8th, part 1, and continue from there. Like I said, you're more than welcome to rewind these if you need more explanation. You're welcome to watch them again, and you're certainly welcome to reach out to me if you have any questions.